Hello, in this video I will show you how this demolition distance properties works. And demolition distance allows you to define demolished area around contact collision point. And there are two types of demolition distance. First one is ratio to size, and it measures in percent from 1 to 100. And it means that 10% of original size, original cluster size around collision point will be demolished. So for first example I set it to 10%, here I set it to 20%, and for the first one I set it to 30%, and I'm going to drop these rocks. So let's take a look how it looks like. So here you can see when it collides with this cluster, you can see now that about 10% radius around contact collision point, 10% relative to its original size, it was demolished, and now all these fragments has its own rigid component and its own rigid body. And this cluster will be simulated separately with this hole inside. And in this example, you can see since my demolition distance was higher, its radius is also higher, and this rock demolished much bigger area of this cluster. And now I have even two clusters because they are not connected. Now I have two separate clusters, and they will be simulated separately. And in this example, you can see my demolition distance was even higher, so I have very small clusters here. So the reason why you may need to use this property in relative to original cluster size is because now during cluster demolition you may get another clusters which will get the same rigid component with the same properties. So this time you can demolish this cluster, and you will be sure that since its ratio to size set to 20%, it will demolish 20% of this cluster. So since it's less, there will be less area demolished. You can see it was demolished when this rock collided with one of its shards. Let me show you again. So here you can see this time demolition area was less than it was with this big cluster, because cluster size itself is less. In this case, you can define this value just once, and then you will be sure that approximately about some 10 or 20% of cluster will be demolished when it will collide with something. And second way to define your demolition distance is to set it in world units here. So again, I have this three examples. For the first one, I set it to units value to 1.5. Here at 3, maybe let's set it to 3. And for this one, it will be 4.6. So again, let me start simulation. And as you can see, there's pretty small radius here, the bigger one here, and even bigger here. So again, I have these two separate clusters here, and these two clusters also separated. But again, since you can see I have exact amount of demolition distance, it may look weird. Maybe I need to set it higher for this one. Set it back to 3.5. So this demolition distance type you may need to use in case you want to demolish some cluster in your cinematic, maybe, or maybe it will be demolished just once and you want to have exact amount of your cluster to be demolished. So in this case you can set it to units here, world units, type to world units, and define actual world units around collision point. So you'll be sure that it will be demolished exactly as you want. But the problem may be that if you will decide to demolish all new clusters again, since they get the same rigid component with the same properties, and as you can see, they get the same world unit. So this time this world unit value might be just too big for this cluster, maybe for not this one. And as you can see, the small little cluster here is also has it 1.5, so if I will demolish it again, it probably will be too big value for this cluster. Okay, so this is how demolition distance properties works, and I guess that's it, and thank you for watching.